Imagine holding a single penny could be worth up to hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars. For over a century, the humble Lincoln penny has been hiding some jaw-dropping treasures in plain sight: rare dates, shocking minting errors, and secret varieties that can turn pocket change into a collector's dream. We're counting down the top 3 most valuable Lincoln pennies ever found, and trust me, you'll want to check your change after this. One of these coins could be sitting in your jar right now. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious, most coveted, and most valuable Lincoln cents ever struck by the U.S. Mint, the 1964-era SMS Lincoln penny. Stay with me until the very end, because I'm going to reveal how to spot the rare error features that turn an ordinary-looking cent into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. The backstory. The year was 1964. America was in the middle of the Kennedy era, the coinage system was undergoing huge changes, and the U.S. Mint was preparing to switch from silver coins to base metals. This was also the final year before the Special Mint Set (SMS) program officially began in 1965. But here's where the story gets strange. Somewhere inside the mint, a handful of 1964 Lincoln cents were struck with an SMS-like finish. Double die obverse DDO, $5,000 to $6,000. Double die reverse DDR, $8,000 to $12,000. Off-center strike, $15,000 to $20,000. Auction records and big money sales. Here's where it gets exciting. The market for these coins is red hot. A pristine 1964 SMS Lincoln penny graded SP68RD by PCGS sold for $20,000 at Heritage Auctions. Example: another specimen in nearly perfect condition fetched $25,000 just a few years later. Example: one with a dramatic double die error reportedly reached over $40,000 in a private sale. These are not just lucky one-time results. Values have been consistently climbing, especially as more collectors learn about them. How to identify one? If you ever come across a 1964 Lincoln cent that looks too good to be true, here's what to check. Surface texture: smooth, satin finish. Rim shaped sharp, square edges. Die markers: known die scratches and polish lines cataloged by specialists. Striking quality: bold details everywhere. If you think you have one, do not clean it. Get it certified by PCGS or NGC immediately. Why they're a collector's dream? Rarity. Possibly fewer than 20 known. Mystery. Unclear origin story. Condition. Most are in superb state. Value: growth. Tens of thousands of dollars now, likely more in the future. That's why the 1964-era SMS Lincoln penny sits alongside coins. The story of the 1969 Lincoln penny, one of the most famous and most dangerous coins in U.S. history. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, the bizarre events that almost erased this coin from existence, and why owning one today could make you richer than you ever imagined. The background: the year 1969 was a time of massive change for America. The Vietnam War was raging, Neil Armstrong was preparing to walk on the moon, and inflation was starting to creep into everyday life for coin collectors. The late 1960s were already exciting. The mint had just come out of the 1965-1967 coin shortage period. Proof sets were back, and San Francisco had become the primary site for striking proof coins. Auction records and sky-high values. Let's talk money. In 2008, a PCGS MS64RD example sold for $126,500, one of the highest prices ever paid for a Lincoln cent. More recent sales for high-grade pieces have ranged from $45,000 to $57,000, depending on condition and market demand. Even circulated examples, coins you might actually find in change, have sold for $20,000 to $65,000. Collectors will pay a premium not just for the rarity, but for the dramatic doubling that you can see without magnification. How to identify one? If you think you found a 1969's double die, here's what to check. Look at Liberty. Each letter should show strong separation, almost like a shadow. Check. This is the most dramatic doubling, with clear, thick overlaps. Inspect the date: 1969. Heavy doubling on all 4 digits. Mintmark: caution, the S mintmark is not doubled. This is important, because doubled mintmarks were hand-punched separately. If all of these match, your next step is professional grading. Never clean the coin. Send it to PCGS or NGC for authentication. Why it's a collector's dream? This coin checks all the boxes for collectors. Visual appeal: the doubling is bold and dramatic. Historical significance: a famous case of mistaken identity with the Secret Service. Extreme rarity, fewer than 100 known. Investment potential. Prices have been stable to rising for decades. It's not just a coin, it's a piece of American numismatic legend. Today, we're talking about the 1982 small date copper Lincoln penny, a coin that, trust me, this is not just another rare coin rumor. This is real, documented, and it's one of the biggest modern coin discoveries in US history. Stay tuned until the very end, because I'm going to show you exactly how to spot this penny and why most people will overlook it. The historical. To understand why this coin exists, we have to rewind to the year 1982, a year of major change for the humble US penny. For more than 120 years, the Lincoln cent had been made mostly from copper, specifically 95% copper and 5% zinc. But copper prices were soaring, and by 1982, it actually cost the US Mint more to make a penny than the penny itself was worth. The solution? A dramatic switch to a cheaper metal core. Starting mid-year, the Mint began producing pennies from 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper plating. This change would save millions of dollars in production costs. Value and auction sales record. So, how much could one penny be worth? In 2017, this coin was authenticated by PCG's professional coin grading service and caused an absolute storm in the numismatic world. When it hit the auction block, collectors went wild. The hammer price, $18,800, and that was just the first sale. In later private offers and valuation estimates, experts suggested that in the right market, a top-graded example could fetch $50,000, $60,000, to $77,000. And here's the part that makes coin hunters go crazy: there could be more out there, still undiscovered in circulation. Think about it. Billions of pennies were minted in 1982. Bank bags, change jars, coin rolls. There's a real possibility that a second or third example could exist, and if it ever surfaces, it could break price records. How to identify one? Alright, now here's the part you've been waiting for: how to tell if you've just found one. The difference between a regular 1982 penny and the $77,000 one comes down to three main things. The date style. The small date is slightly different. On the small date, the mint mark, look for AD just below the date, indicating the Denver Mint. The weight. This is the ultimate test. Use a jeweler's scale that measures to 1/10 of a gram. Copper pennies from before mid-1982 weigh about 3.1 grams. Zinc pennies from after the switch weigh about 2.5 grams. If your 1982 small date penny weighs 3.1 grams, you might have struck gold. Well, copper gold.